already difficult for me to speak. Now let me see. So we have started with the general convection diffusion equation, which can be written in this form, having four terms, which you guys are already very familiar. All the governing equations can be structured in this four terms: unsteady convection term, diffusion term, and anything else which does not fit into the first three terms can be put as source term. And we were discussing about different schemes to resolve this or discretize this convective term. We already know how to treat the other terms, but how to solve the convective term and write in the discretized equations in the same form as previous conductive equation, where we can write it in terms of AP phi P as a summation of A and B phi and B plus B. Okay. So our aim is to, after discretization, is to find the coefficients AP and all the A and which are A east, A west, A north, A south, like that. And in doing that, we have started with some simple problem, 1D convection diffusion problem. So all these schemes are developed, but can be applied to all 2D or 3D problems, or problems with source terms, problems having unsteady term. Okay, the schemes remain same, because ultimately how we are treating the convection term, that is the main say outcome of these schemes. Okay, so we have started with a scheme which is called a central difference scheme, and where we have defined, so I will not go into, because we have already covered this, I am just giving a background. So where basically at the interface, we have defined the flow field or the interpolated advective strength at the interfaces as an average of the grid point values. That was the main part of the, if I tell you summary in one line of the central difference scheme, it is that the interface convective terms are interpolated as mean of the grid point values. So it is average of the grid point values. Okay, and we saw that that is not very physically correct unless the velocity is small. At high velocities, grid point value should not be average of these two values, because from the direction from which the flow is coming should strongly affect the grid means interface value. So if the flow is coming from the left side or the west side, the interface value should be strongly affected by the west grid point value and minimally affected by the P value. Okay. Similarly, if the flow is coming from the east side, the west interface value should be strongly affected by P value and not by the W value. So based on this assumption, we have devised a second scheme which we called as upwind scheme, where only one side effect was taken. Okay, only the effect of one side was taken. In the previous class we have discussed. So if the flow is coming from the left side, we have taken the value of only phi w for the west interface. If the flow is coming from the right side, we have taken the value of only phi p for the west interface. Okay. Similarly, for the east interface, if the flow is coming from the left side, we have taken only the value of phi p for the east interface, and if the flow is coming from the right side, we have taken only the value of phi e for the east interface. Okay, so based on this simple idea, the scheme is developed, and we write all the. So ultimately, what is the thing we have seen in central difference scheme, that the once you discretize this convection diffusion equation, you get the diffusion terms like this and the convective terms like this. The issue was that we were unable to find what should be the phi e value and phi w value based on the Fe and Fw values. So Fe and Fw will still be interpolated values only. Okay. So initially actually I just wrongly spoke. So Fe and Fw should be the interpolated values. How we devise this phi and phi w value, the actual interface values for the convective terms, advective terms, that is the crux of the. So in this case, these were average. In the second upwind scheme, these were taken as from the upstream side. Okay. Okay. And accordingly, we had devised the equation. You can go through the notes again. Any questions is there, you can ask me today. Today we have a lot of time. I have very less material. So then we went to third type of scheme, which we called as the exponential scheme. So before going to the scheme, what we had discussed was the for that simple problem, 1D convection diffusion problem, whether there is actually any solution, analytical, not CFD, where we can see how actual the behavior is. And we solved it and we found that the behavior is exponential, where the variable, so if I take a look at the graph, depending on the Peclet number, which is a non-dimensional number giving us the strength of the relative strength of the advection, okay, relative to the diffusion. The Peclet number is very high, it means flow is very high as compared to diffusion. And we have seen that based on different Peclet numbers, how the variation will look like. So the interface is between x star equal to 0 and x star equal to 1. So if you draw a line at the center here, then whatever value you get for these curves, this should be the exact interpolated values at the interface. Okay. For example, P is very much greater than 0, means tending to infinity or very high. Then at the interface, you will see the value is almost equal to phi star equal to 0, non-dimensional phi star equal to 0. Okay. Or phi is equal to phi 0. On the other hand, if the flow is very much negative, very high negative velocity is there, it is governed by it is similar to the right side value. Right side means east interface value. And if the flow velocity is 0 or very near to 0, we are somewhat similar to the central difference scheme, where the value at the center is average of this value and this value, okay, at the center. So the central difference scheme is accurate for p small values of p, and upwind scheme is accurate for very large positive and negative values of p. And based on this, we devised the scheme which we called as the exponential scheme, where we actually put the for the curve means variation instead of interpolating in terms of straight lines or anything like that. We interpolated based on the actual exponential curve for the 1D equation, and we got a complicated expression where the final equation looked like this: AP phi p again is equal to AE phi plus AW phi W, but where AE was given by Fe divided by e to the power p minus 1, where Fe is the again the at the east interface the convective term, and e to the power p is the Peclet number. Similarly, we had another term for the AW, and you know that Ap is always equal to A plus AW plus Fe minus FW, and by continuity equation, Fe is equal to FW, so Fe is equal to A plus AW. So up to this point, we had discussed in the previous class. And what was the main drawback of this scheme? This is very accurate, and this is 100% accurate, means there is no error at all. Even if the number of grid points is very less, means even if we take 3 grid points, still it will be 100% accurate if the problem is a simple 1D convection diffusion problem, if I try to use exponential scheme. If it is a more complex problem, like a 2D or 3D problem, it will be 100% accurate, but still the accuracy will be very high. The main drawback was that the exponential terms that we have to calculate for each grid point. So at each interface, you have to calculate one exponential term, like e to the power p and e to the power pw. So two exponential terms per grid point on its west interface and this. So this actually consumes huge amount of computers. So the scheme is very slow. Exponential terms numerical problems is expensive related to calculate polynomials or normal say addition because you have to do large number of multiplications divisions. So it is quite expensive. So that was the main drawback. Otherwise, this scheme would have been good. But anyway, because this is not 100% accurate for more it makes sense to devise some other schemes which are maybe slightly less accurate or even approaching similar accuracy, but runs much faster. Okay. So the way to devise those schemes is to try to mimic the variation that we have seen for the exponential scheme for the different coefficient values, and try to approximate those variation in terms of short segments of lines. Okay, so say by using 3 lines or 5 lines or 4 lines, depending on different schemes, if I can follow the curvature of the exponential scheme, then we can get quite high accuracy without going towards very high computational resources. It need not be straight lines also, it can be polynomials also. Calculation of short polynomials is not very difficult, like say quadratic or something cubic, but it should mimic the curve as much as possible. So based on this idea, we will study 2 more schemes today. Okay, those old students already know this, we have already studied this. These are all very famous schemes, and some of these are used very much today also, like what we are going to study. This even upwind scheme is also used very much even today, but some of the advanced schemes like the hybrid or power law schemes are used very widely. Okay, so let us try to look at or try to see how to develop that scheme, this new scheme, hybrid scheme. Okay, any questions up to this point, means on the convection diffusion part from the previous classes, or any?
No, sir.
Okay, so okay, so today's material I have to upload. Anyway, today's class is going to be very short, so don't worry about the time. That's why I'm going slowly today, and also I cannot speak very fast today. This is today's note is 18. We have already covered around 140 pages notes. So the first of this scheme is known as hybrid scheme. Why is it called hybrid? Because it is a combination of two, means conceptually it is a combination of the upwind scheme and the central difference scheme, as we are going to see, and mathematically we will see that it is a combination of 3 straight lines. Okay, based on 3 straight lines, it mimics the nature of the exponential curves, but like conceptually it's a hybrid of the central difference scheme, which is very accurate for low value of p, and the upwind scheme, which is very accurate for high value of p. So it combines both these ideas, that for high value of p, we should approach the upwind type of situation, and for low value of p, means Peclet number, we should approach central difference scheme. Okay, so let us see how to actually what is the logic behind, like we'll not go in full details of these schemes, you are not going to implement also in this course, but you should know how these are devised. Okay, uh, so I will just keep this exponential scheme open. Okay, because that is our benchmark, right? So on the right hand side you can see the exponential scheme, the final derivation for the exponential scheme. It may be slightly small for you to observe all the terms. If you are looking from mobile, it will be very difficult. On a laptop, I guess it's okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to just study one of the terms, AE, okay, and see how to treat that. And we'll assume that similarly we can treat AW also, and anyway AP is equal to AE plus AW plus FE minus FW. So AP can be always be calculated based on AE and AW. So we'll just go into the details of the behavior of AE. Okay, how AE actually behaves. Because why we are going to study this behavior of AE and AW? Because this determines how much importance we are putting on the respective grid point while interpolating the interface values. Okay. So say depending on the situation, if A is very large, okay, or like depending on how the value of A is. So relative contribution of phi can be large or it can be small on the value of phi p. After the final discretization is done. This is the final discretized equation, right? So if I go to the grid structure or the final discretized equation, any of the grid structure, okay. So how this value here is determined by this value and this value, this depends on what is the relative strength of this coefficient AE and AW. If AE is large, we know that it will have a stronger influence on P, and if AW is large, we know that it will have a stronger influence on the value at grid point P. Okay, and obviously these things depend on both diffusion and convection, but at high Peclet number, these are more convection. Whenever I speak convection, it means that advection dominant. Okay. So we want to find out the behavior at the Peclet number, variation of this AE and AW to see what is the influence and can we mimic the influence instead of using exponential scheme by using some shortcut methods. Okay. So that is the main idea. So this is being recorded. So if you don't remember, you just go through the recording later. Because it is important to know why we are doing this. Okay, what is the broad picture here instead of just trying to mathematically go through why we are actually trying to understand the behavior of AE and AW. Again, I will repeat in one behavior of AE and AW. So the relative value magnitude of AE and AW gives us an idea about states how much of grid point value on the final value of phi p. Okay. So that is the main important. So for exponential scheme, we have seen that is this term fe by e to the power p. That is what I have written here. A is equal to fe by e to the power p minus 1. In this can be non-dimensionalized if you divide by the for the east interface. If you divide by the east interface diffusive strength. Okay, diffusive strength. What was the definition? Gamma by delta x. Okay, so in this case it is gamma e by delta x. If you do that, you get the non-dimensional equation A by d is equal to P by e to the power p minus 1. Basically, Fe divided by d, and Fe divided by d is P. Okay, so we get an expression of the form x to the x by e to the power x minus. So this variation of this non-dimensional value of this coefficient is of the form y is equal to x by e to the power x minus 1. So how actually physically that looks like? This is a mathematical term, but we want to see what is the plot for that. I can just plot it in MATLAB also, but we can even try to take some limiting values and try to understand what happens. Okay, I can try to plot in MATLAB also this value to see like what is the variation for different values. We'll do it later. Okay, because today we have sufficient time. So we will see three limiting cases, and based on this, we will find out what is the variation of A by D with changing Peclet number. Okay. So one limit is say if P is very large, P still or we'll start MATLAB because it takes some time to open on my laptop. Am I still audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. So one limit is that Peclet number is very large. It means that there is a flow, very large flow from the left to the right side. By the way, we have defined our axis. Positive x-axis goes towards the right side. So positive flow means positive Peclet number means flow is from the left to right and has a very large value because it is infinity, means large relative to d. Okay. So in this case, we can find the value of a by d or any expression like this, y is equal to x by e to the power x minus 1. Okay, by taking the limit that Peclet number tends to infinity, because if you don't take the limit, you will see that numerator and denominator both are approaching infinity. Okay, so to find the actual value at infinity, we have to take the limit and see. Otherwise, you cannot find the value. Okay, because both numerator also goes to infinity, denominator also goes to infinity. At the so we use using L'Hopital. If you don't remember, check from some source or some maths book what is L'Hopital. I have given still here for this particular. So at the limit, if x tends to infinity, okay, or minus infinity, any expression which can be written as a say as the in the form fx by gx, okay, can also be calculated as x limit x tends to infinity f dash x by g dash x. These are the first derivative, and obviously this is only possible, means this is valid, this rule is valid if g dash x is not equal to 0, and this helps us to solve many situations where it is tricky to find the limit. So in this case, we are going to use this L'Hopital's rule, and we will take a derivative with of the numerator and denominator with respect to p, because p is our variable. Okay. So if you take a derivative with respect to p of the numerator, you get 1, and of the denominator, it is e to the power p. Okay. So the limit, now the limit is limit p tends to infinity 1 by e to the power p, which is equal to 0. Okay. So at p tends to infinity, the limit is equal to 0. Actually, it can be intuitively also understood in this case, because always the exponentials grow at a much faster rate as compared to the variable, right? Because this is a power, the variable is in the power, so it will be growing at a much faster rate as compared to the actual variable. So the numerator will be, denominator will be always much larger as compared to numerator, and at the limit it will the limit will go to 0. Although both numerator and denominator goes to infinity, but the denominator goes to a higher infinity. Okay, there are different levels of infinity, and in this case it goes to higher infinity, and this limit goes to 0. Second limit is I am going to take a break here. Okay, my tooth is. I will take a 5 minutes break. Okay, I had a small minor surgical procedure yesterday on in my mouth, and it is causing a lot of pain if I speak. So I hope after 5 minutes it will be again, maybe I'm able to talk. So just wait for 5 minutes. Today class material anyway we will finish quickly, and we will continue after 5 minutes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Let us continue. Okay. So for the Peclet number going to infinity limit, we have seen the value goes to 0. Okay. Peclet number going to minus infinity, we can again take the limit a by d, limit Peclet number goes to minus infinity of p by e to the power p minus 1. And in this case, you can see that it is easy to calculate the limit. E to the power p, e to the power minus infinity is 0. So basically 0 minus 1, so it is minus 1. So p divided by minus 1 is minus p. So at the limit, or if for very large negative values of p, this a by d tends to go towards minus p. Okay, the straight line, it follows the path minus p. And for p equal to 0, again you can find the limit for Peclet number equal to 0. The value is limit Peclet number tends to 0. P by e to the power p minus 1. It's of the form limit x tends to 0 e to the power x minus 1 by x, whose value is actually 1. Okay, it can be also easily seen. So the value of this is 1 at Peclet number equal to 0. So with this three values, or understanding these three limits, okay, we can understand tentatively, means approximately what is the pattern of this curve. It is shown here by this light blue line here. Okay, so this violet color line is the a by d equal to minus p line. Okay, so it's like a y is equal to minus x line. Okay, so slope is minus 1. Basically, it's slope is 1 in the negative direction. And our curve, actual curve, exponential curve, approaches this line if p becomes very large in the negative direction. A by d approaches minus p. On the positive side, we have seen that if p becomes very large, a by d should go to 0. So which is given by this other line along the axis. Okay. So this light blue color line will go to asymptotically, it will try to go towards the value of 0 when this p increases very much. And at p equal to 0, the value at this point is 1. Okay, at p equal to 0, so the curve goes like this, and then it goes through this point value of 1 and goes towards 0. Okay, this is the actual nature of the curve. What is the physical significance of this behavior? Physical significance of this behavior is that if say Peclet number is very large, okay, Peclet number is very large positive value. What does it mean? Peclet number very large positive value. Peclet number at the east interface is very large. So generally flow at the east and west interface should be equal because it's a 1D problem, and Fe should be equal to Fw. And in case the diffusivity is equal, then Peclet number at east and west face are also equal. Okay. So Peclet number very large means that can I see one of the grid structures here somewhere? Okay, so here we have a grid structure. So it means that the flow is coming from this side, from the left towards the right at a very large velocity. So it means that what should be the influence of, what should be the relative value of AW and AE. So AE should be quite small, because if the flow is coming very strongly from the left hand side, the grid point P should not be influenced too much by the E value. Okay, grid point E value, because any information is being carried away from the left to the right side. For example, if the hot flow comes from this side, so the temperature here will be governed by the temperature of the hot flow, not what is the temperature at the downstream side. Okay. For all other properties also same thing holds true. It means that for very high Peclet number, if the influence is almost negligible, AE should approach 0. Okay, and that is what we are seeing. A approaches the value of 0 for very high Peclet number. Okay, the influence of the east interface is almost negligible. On the other hand, if the velocity is very strong from the other direction, okay, if the velocity is very strong from the other direction, means from the right to the left, the AE should, influence of AE should be very high, okay, and that is what we are seeing. If the velocity keeps on increasing in the negative direction, means negative means from the right to left, accordingly the influence of AE also increases, means the value of AE also increases. AE by D increases means AE also increases if D is constant. So the larger the value of Peclet number, negative Peclet number, the larger is the value of AE. Okay, it has a very strong influence. And if Peclet number is negative, minus of Peclet number is positive. So basically AE has a very strong positive influence on the grid point P. Okay. Same conclusion can be done if we had drawn AW by DW. We could have done similar analysis based on the uh, exponential scheme coefficient, and we would have obtained, means same means similar behavior, means in that case the behavior would have been symmetrical. Opposite means if the flow was from the left hand side very strong, AW would have been very strongly influenced, and if it was from the right hand side, AW would have become gone to zero, somewhat like symmetrical behavior. Okay. And the other thing that we can notice here physically is that if Peclet number is zero, it means that there should not be much influence of the flow. So it is diffusion dominant. There is no flow basically. So it cannot be, I should not say not much influence. There is no influence of flow. So it is only diffusion dominant. In that case, both the sides, west and east, should have equal influence on the grid point value. Okay. And if we see in this case, Peclet number 0, this value goes to 1. Same thing will happen for the AW by DW value also. It will also go to 1, and both will have equal influence on the grid point value. Okay, this is the physical significance of the actual solution, exponential solution. Now we have not yet gone to the hybrid scheme. So now based on this idea, we want to mimic this behavior. Okay, we want to follow this behavior as closely as possible. How to do that? So if we can, there can be many ways. I can divide this into 10 lines and get more accurate, by using 10 straight lines, I can just follow this behavior very closely, but it will become too complicated. So there's one of the simpler ways to do it is assuming 3 straight lines. Okay, one straight line is for very large negative values of P, where the straight line actually is given by this violet color line. So we can assume that for very large negative values of P, the curve will be very near to this value of the straight line. Okay, A by D is almost equal to minus P. So we can take one straight line to be A by D equal to minus P. Okay, directly, instead of taking the exponential and limit. Second part, we can assume that for very large value of P, A by D should be equal to 0. Okay, so that is another straight line we can take. So these two are true for very large negative and positive value. In between, we will fit a third straight line, which will try to approximate this in between behavior, where we can see that there is huge deviation from this left straight line and right straight line. Here you can see huge deviation. So if I just use these two straight lines, it will not be very accurate for low value of Peclet number. So here we will use another straight line, which we will assume is tangential to this actual curve. Okay, so as to mimic the behavior very closely. Okay, so it's a straight line which is tangent to the actual curve, and it intersects these two other lines at some points. Okay, so by using these three lines, so basically what we will do is that once we draw this straight line, up to the point it intersects, from there, and like from the point it intersects from there to the point it intersects the other side, up to that point we will assume that the A by D is given by the middle straight line. Beyond that intersection point, we will assume that A by D equal to 0. And beyond the left-hand side intersection, we will assume that A by D is equal to minus P. So by using these three straight lines, we can mimic the behavior of the coefficients which is given by the actual exponential solution, but by using very less amount of resources, by not calculating the exponentials at all. Okay. In this case, the light blue line, you have to calculate the exponential. For the straight line, you don't need to calculate any exponential. So this is the idea behind the hybrid scheme. Okay. So if we represent the y-axis, means A by D as the y-axis and P as the x-axis, we can say that y is equal to 0 if x is much greater than 0, as we have seen here. Y is equal to minus x if x is much less than 0. And in between, it is a straight line which is tangent to the exponential curve at x equal to 0. Okay. So I have shown the three lines here. One is this line up to this point. This is extended, but we will just consider up to this point. Second is this tangential line up to this point, and from this point onward, the third line. Okay. So we have to locate these 2 points and find the slope of this line. Once we can do that, already we know the two other lines. This line is A by D equal to minus P, and the equation of this line is A by D equal to 0. We don't know the equation of this line and the extent of, like, the regimes on which different lines are valid. So from which point to which point this line is valid, from which point onward this line is valid, from which point onward before that the other line is valid. These two things we have to find out. Okay. Any questions up to this point?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
when we are actually calculating this, I mean, we are trying to make the curve as linear as possible. Why aren't we choosing p equal to 2 or minus 2?
Why are we choosing? You are asking, is it?
Why, like, sir, why not? Why p equal to 0?
Because it's a good question. Means you are saying why we are taking the tangent at p equal to 0 or exact value at p equal to 0, means
Yes,
trying to
sir.
make the curve. Because
Like
the
we
deviation,
made a practical assumption in the previous cases.
yes.
So,
The reason is that it's a good question, uh, very valid question. The reason is that the curves, if you see this curve here, the actual curve has very less difference with the means actual means the
okay, so
actual
that means
solution.
it is very much tending. So if we take p equal to 2, it will almost tend to the previous one.
It is not exactly tending, but it is much less error as compared to p equal to 0. Maximum error is in this region. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So I will just explain for the benefit of others. I think you already understood. So we have three lines, right? So the first line is very accurately, it gives the means it represents the exact solution at the at large negative values of p. So for example, p is equal to minus 4, minus 6, like this. So at minus 2, it will be
Sir, you're not audible.
it will have some difference. Uh,
Sir, is your voice is breaking?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Internet connection got dropped off. I was talking for a long time. Up to what point did you guys hear? I was describing this, why it is taken at the point 0. Okay. Can you see the screen? Can somebody confirm? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So maybe some lag, I guess. Okay. So if you just try to approximate this exact solution, internet is very poor. I will again repeat. Can you still see the screen and hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think there is huge lag because your voices are coming very slowly. So I will repeat. I was saying that we could have approximated the exact solution we given by this line by using these two straight lines. But doing this leads us to a very large error at very low values of Peclet number. And the error is maximum at Peclet number equal to 0. So as a result, we use the third line and take that to be such that the error is minimized. And that happens if I take the line through the point of the exact curve at p equal to 0 instead of taking that line through p equal to 2 or minus 2. Is it clear to you, Nikhil, what I am trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the idea. But there can be other types of curves also. Means it need not be like this. I could have taken a cubic curve or a quadratic to mimic it better. So this is just one scheme. There can be hundreds type of schemes. Researchers are still working on different schemes. Every scheme has its positive and negative. Some may be very complicated, but maybe more accurate. Some may be very simple, and maybe it is sufficient even to use upwind scheme if the grid size is small. So there are a lot of pros and cons. Okay. So here the idea was that uh, y is equal to 0 if x is much greater than 0, y is equal to minus x if x is much less than 0, and it's the tangent in between. So we have to find the line for this equation for this and the points at which it intersects the other two lines, so that we know up to what point the first equation is valid, means a by d equal to, up to what point the second equation is valid, which we have not yet calculated, and from which point the third equation is valid, a by d equal to 0. So if you see these three lines, you can see now the maximum error has significantly diminished. Now the maximum error of these intersection points, but this is still less as compared to the maximum error that was there previously. Okay, so the maximum deviation that occurs at this intersection points, but still it is not very high. Okay, we could have even made more lines to reduce the error, but it will become more and more complicated. So let us try to find the equation of this. So equation of the line is given because this point is x equal to 0 and y equal to 1. It can be written as y equal to 1 equal y minus 1 equal to dy dx at x equal to 0 into x minus 0. This is the equation of the line in terms of the slope of the line at x equal to 0. So we need to find the slope of the line at x equal to, and we want the slope to be equal to the, because it's a tangent, the slope should be equal to this exact solution given by the orange line here. Okay, so the violet line should be equal to the orange line slope. So what was the exact solution? Exact solution is p by e to the power p minus 1. So, or in terms of x, the exact solution y is equal to x by e to the power x minus 1. Okay, just writing in terms of x actually simplify the things. Y is a by d and x equal to p. So dy dx, if we want to find the value of dy dx, we can take a derivative of y is equal to x by e to the power x minus 1. I should have put some more steps here. You can try to write and check. Okay, maybe I can use, or you will be able to understand. These are not very x by e to the power x minus 1. So by taking by parts, you can take the derivative and it will lead to minus x e to the power x. Very simple derivation. You try this, it's a very simple derivation, and I hope again the internet has come back. This is creating big problem. So to find the value of this slope at x equal, we need to take the limit. Directly you cannot just put x equal to 0. Then you will see that you cannot find the limit, because denominator it is e to the power 0 is 1 minus 1 0, so 0 here also it is 0, like this, so it is causing a problem. Okay, so at x tends to 0, dy dx is equal to limit x tends to this entire term, which can be simplified as, at the denominator I can take e to the power x minus 1 whole square, so automatically the numerator minus x e to the power x plus for this term e to the power x minus. Just go through the calculation. So dy dx at x equal to 0 is equal to limit x tends to 0. Now we will use L'Hopital's rule again. Okay, take a derivative of the denominator, and numerator derivative is with respect to x, it is, for the first term it is minus e to the power x minus x into e to the power x. So these two terms comes from the first term, and for the second term it is e to the power x, third term goes to 0. Okay, so this minus e to the power x and plus e to the power x goes to can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Really difficult to take class like this. Every 2 minutes internet is going off. Still you can see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So actually I was just going through the derivation. You can do on your own, going through the steps, because in the class I would have gone through the steps in the board. Here I could have directly given the solution, but it's better to know the steps in case some of you, most of you should be able to do it anyway, but some of you. What is the problem? My patience is running thin now. Still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Every minute there is like a connection drop. So I was saying that take the derivative of the denominator with respect to x, you get 2 e to the power x minus 1 multiplied by e to the power x. Okay. And now you can just simplify these terms. E to the power x, e to the power x gets cancelled. These two terms previously got cancelled. So we are left with limit x tends to 0 minus x by 2 e to the power x minus 1. Okay. And if you take minus half common, the rest of the term x by e to the power x minus 1, the limit x tends to 0 give the value of 1. So this entire limit is actually minus half. So the slope of this line here is minus half. Okay. And the equation of the tangent in that case is y minus 1 is equal to minus half x minus 0. Okay. Which can be written as y minus 1 is equal to minus half x, or you can write this as y is equal to 1 minus half x. Okay. This is the equation of the central line. So we now know the equation of the three lines. First line is y is equal to minus x. Second line is y minus 1 is equal to minus of x. And third line is y equal to 0. Okay. So now we can find the intersection points. So from the first two equations, I will keep this diagram open here so that you can relate to the diagram. Okay. From the first two equations, y equal to minus x and y minus 1 equal to minus of x, we can find the at intersection both the equations are valid, right? So I can just replace y with minus x here. Okay. So it is minus x minus 1 is equal to minus half x, or minus x equal to 1 minus half x, which gives us x equal to minus 2. So this point is at x equal to minus 2. Similarly, from the other two lines, this line and this line, if you find the common point for both the lines, it is x equal to 2. Okay. So now we have fully defined the three lines. The first line goes from minus 2 to minus infinity and has the equation y is equal to minus x. The second line goes from minus 2 to plus 2 and has the equation y minus 1 equal to minus half x. And the third line goes from 2 to plus infinity and its equation is y equal to 0. Okay. Now we can write this in terms of Peclet number. Just a by d was y and p is x. Okay. So a by d is equal to minus p for Peclet number less than minus 2. A by d is equal to 1 minus p by 2. Okay, this equation 1 minus half x, so 1 minus p by 2. If Peclet number is between minus 2 and 2, and a by d equal to 0 if Peclet number is greater than 0. Okay. Another way of representing this is a by d is equal to maximum of minus p, 1 minus p by 2 and 0. Okay, you can just check that you will get, depending on the values, you will get one of these three conditions correctly. So if p is less than minus 2, you will get the maximum is the first term minus p. If it is between minus 2 and plus 2, this is the maximum. In other case, this is the maximum. Okay. From the graph also, it can be seen that up to, if you just extend these lines, beyond minus 2 on the left hand side, the maximum highest value is given by this line. The second line goes below this, like this. Okay. If I extend this line, and the third line goes like this. Sorry. Third line goes like this. So beyond minus 2 on the left hand side, the first line has the maximum value. Between minus 2 and plus 2, the first line actually has lower value as compared to the second line. And the second line also has higher value as compared to the third line, which is also below it. So this is the highest value of y. So this is given by here. And after plus 2, both the lines go below the axis. So highest value is 0. So we can write in this form, or you can write on the top form. Okay. Same type of study can be done for AW by DW. Okay. We will not go into the details. You can try that. And ultimately, we can write the hybrid scheme as AP phi P is equal to AE phi plus AW phi W, where A is defined as, so if I now take the D to the other side, A is equal to minus Fe, 1 minus Fe by 2 or 0. Okay. So same thing here, A is equal to max of minus Fe, not 1 minus Fe, sorry, D minus Fe by 2 and 0. And same calculation can be done for AW, which is max of FW, DW plus FW by 2 and 0. Okay. So it is symmetric, somewhat symmetric behavior to this. The curve looks like this. Okay. And AP can always be written in terms of AE and AW. So this is known as the hybrid scheme, and it is known as hybrid because between -2 and +2, it gives exactly similar value as the central difference scheme, and beyond -2 or beyond +2, it is like the upwind scheme, but without the diffusion term. Okay, neglecting the diffusion term. It is the upwind scheme neglecting the diffusion term. That is noted here. This scheme is identical to the central difference scheme for -2 to +2, and outside this, it is like the upwind scheme without the diffusion term. Okay. So if you go back to the schemes, just to show you once. So between -2 and +2, what is the value? Between -2 and +2, A is D minus Fe by 2. And in the central difference scheme also, we had obtained A is equal to D minus Fe by 2. And AW will be D plus FW by 2, and that is what we had obtained. So it is exactly same as the central difference scheme between -2 and +2. Beyond this, it is somewhat like the upwind scheme. For the upwind scheme, what was the values? What were the values? A was, so if it is negative, if the Fe value is negative, okay, strong negative value, then A will be D plus minus Fe. Okay, maximum of minus Fe 0 is minus Fe. So D minus Fe. So this D part is neglected, we only get minus Fe. And if it is greater than 2, if the Peclet number is greater than 2, this term will be negative. So it will be maximum of negative and 0 will be 0. So D plus 0. So again, D is neglected, so you get just 0 here. Okay. Same thing for AW. So it mimics the upwind scheme, neglecting the diffusion terms. Diffusion effect should be minimal beyond a certain region, and that's why that is what we get from the exponential scheme and upwind hybrid scheme. Okay. That's why I had noted here that in the upwind scheme we had noted that it overestimates the effect of diffusion. Okay, which is not the case here. So this is the hybrid scheme. So again, same coefficients, but where the means the same equation, but the coefficients have different formula. Okay, and this can be easily calculated based on known parameters Fe and D, where Fe is the convective advective strength, which can be written as rho u. At the interfaces, it can be interpolated, and D also D and dW can be interpolated based on gamma and delta x. Okay, geometrical parameter and diffusivity. So all the terms can be known or calculated, and we will be able to calculate AE, AW, and AP. Okay, and just for all the grid points and solve the equations. We will conclude today's class just by giving you. I will just give a brief glimpse of the one of the more powerful schemes or more accurate schemes, which is known as the power law scheme. Any question on the hybrid scheme? Just think about it instead of just going mathematically through it. Okay, after the class or whenever you get, I know you guys are busy, but when you get time, just think how the behavior actually is of AE and AW for different limiting situation. Okay, and what it physically means. For example, as I was saying, right? So if I have a grid structure like this, so for example, for this case only I can show the grid structure. If I have a grid structure like this, we know that if the flow is strong from the left hand side, W should have a strong influence. Okay, so strong flow from the left hand side means high positive value of Fe and FW. So if Fe is strongly positive, maximum of minus Fe, so it will be minus Fe will be negative. D minus Fe by 2 will also become negative because Fe is very strongly positive. So minus Fe is strongly negative. It will overcome D. So ultimately A will be equal to 0. And that is what we expect, that if flow is strongly from the left hand side, this grid point E should not have any influence on P. On the other hand, AW, so if strong velocity is there, FW will be a large value. Okay, it will be much larger than FW by 2 plus DW. Okay, or 0. So it will become equal to FW. Okay, so in that case, when the velocity is very strong, positive value, you get AW to be a large value equal to FW. Okay, or non-dimensional AW is equal to Peclet number. So influence of W will be strong on P. Same thing, opposite thing happens if the flow occurs from this side. You will see that A has a very strong influence. A is very large, but AW goes to 0. Okay, so this is the physical significance. All these schemes you can try to understand the physical significance like this. Any questions? We are almost at the end of today's class.
No, sir.
Okay, I hope you have understood. I have gone very slowly through this. Final scheme what we are going to study is the power law scheme, and I will just state this scheme. We will not derive it. Derivation actually is done. These are done. You can derive any number of schemes. I can also derive a new scheme, or you can also derive a new scheme. Hundreds of schemes can be derived just by trying to follow the exponential curve. So one such scheme which is very popular is the power law scheme, which is derived by fitting a curve which has very small difference with the actual exponential curve. So if I go to the exponential solution, this red line shows the exponential curve, right, of A by D, or even this line also shows the exponential curve, this blue line. So if we can mimic it very strongly by using nonlinear equations, but without using exponential, we can get very accurate result, but by solving it very quickly, because we are not solving exponentials. Taking powers are very easy as compared to finding exponential. Okay. So one such scheme is this power law scheme, where we divide this A by D into 4 segments instead of 3 segments like the hybrid scheme. We divide it into 4 segments. Okay. And this is done, as I was saying, by trying to minimize, by fitting a curve and trying to minimize the difference with the exponential scheme. You can decide to take 6 curves and even get a more accurate result, but this itself is very accurate. If you go to the book, there are some values given in the book of Patankar, and you will see that there is very negligible difference of A by D as calculated by this scheme and as calculated by the exponential scheme. Even if we draw the plot also, you will not be able to distinguish with naked eye the two plots, the exponential scheme and the plot given by this scheme. It will just look like same for both these schemes. Okay, it is so accurate. What is this scheme? A by D is equal to minus P for very large negative values of P. Okay, when P is between minus infinity and minus 10. Instead of minus 2, now we are starting this equation from minus 10. So at that point, it will be almost equal to minus P. Very less difference will be there. For P greater than 0, greater than 10, which is a very large positive value, A by D equal to 0. Okay, it mimics that same thing like the upwind scheme. So for less than minus 10 or greater than 10, it is like the upwind scheme. Okay. In between, we have two curves. One is 1 plus 0.1 P to the power 5 minus P, again based on error minimization. This has been derived. 1 plus 0.1 P to the power 5 minus P. This actually very closely follows this part. And from 0 to 10, we have 1 minus 0.1 P to the power 5. Okay. This follows very closely the other side. Okay. And these two curves reach the value, means they intersect these two lines at minus 10 and plus 10. So for example, at minus 10, this will become equal to 1 plus 0.1 into minus 10. So 1 minus 1. So 0 to the power 5 minus P, which is equal to minus P. And at plus 10, this will become equal to 1 minus 0.1 into 10. So 1 minus 1, 0. 0 to the power 5. So 0. Okay. So they actually intersect the other two lines. So this is known as the power law scheme. I am just stating it here because it is very widely used in many codes and many software. And it can also be written in a single line in this form. I am not going through the details, but if you just go through it, you will see that if you take the maximum values of these two terms, okay, you will get all these four conditions, okay, depending on the value of Fe by D, okay, or Peclet number. Same process can be used to find AW by DW. Again, we will not define it here, but it can be followed and it can be found, and AP can be found from that. Okay, so I'm just stating it here. We will not go into derivation. It's not part of the course. Also, I'm not expecting you to derive in the course. Just to state that this like one of the most accurate schemes out there, which can be used at good computational efficiency. So this scheme is very accurate, noted down, and follows the exponential scheme very closely. Okay, so this is up to what I decided to teach today, and because of my pain in my mouth, and in the next class we will go to 2D convection diffusion equation and finish this part, and start with the final part, which is the flow solution, Navier-Stokes solution. Okay, on Friday. Any questions? Wait for the attendance. Okay. Let me see whether, because some time is there, whether we can get this plot. I have not tried it before. I should have tried it. Whether actually, because I am just stating what the limits are saying and what the books say, but actually we should try and check whether we are getting this plot or not. So what we are going to do is we are going to take a large range of Peclet number. I hope you can still see the screen. We are going to take a large range of Peclet number and check whether we are getting this value. Only because there is a lot of time waste. We come to this. Let me just. It's already clear. Okay. So let me take a Peclet number going from -100 to +100. Peclet number going from -100 to +100 in steps of. It will be too large, I think, range. You will not be able to see anything. Let us take -10 to +10. And we will plot this expression, actual variation. Let us write it as coef P is equal to Peclet number divided by can I write e to the power here, or let me just check once.
So EXP.
So EXP and bracket PE term.
But I am also thinking whether E also gives the same thing or not. I know that EXP will give it correctly. No, E does not. I was just thinking because it came to my mind. Yeah. EXP, I also use EXP. That is true, but just I was curious.
Okay.
Where should be the dot here? Can anyone tell? Term by term calculation.
So after PE, right?
Directly calculates, I think, for each term exponentials. It is correct. So this is the behavior. Okay. This is the behavior, right? And you can see that it is like what we have already studied. Okay. And the limits also, you can see that it is almost approaching the power law, that power law scheme that we have studied. Means at -10 there is no difference, almost no difference with the power law scheme. Okay, it is almost equal to -10, and it also very rapidly goes to +10 also. So power law scheme will be very accurate. There will be some difference at -2 and +2 with the hybrid scheme. It is seen from here, because for the hybrid scheme at +2 the value is 0, and here there is some difference. Okay, but the power law scheme, you can plot the power law scheme and check also that it should mimic this scheme very nicely. Okay, so with this we will just stop the class today and just take the attendance. Go through it in the books. Okay, go through it in the books, from the books. Please upload lecture. Yes, I will do it. It takes a lot of time to upload because of poor internet. Means high definition, so I have to sit down and upload one by one. We'll stop the recording.